Today, we remember and honor two very significant women in our Jodo Shinshu sect of Buddhism. Eshinni, the wife of founder Shinran Shonin, and Kakushinni, the youngest daughter of Eshinni and Shinran's 6 children. In 1921, 10 letters written by Eshinni to Kakushinni were discovered in the archives at the Jodo Shinshu headquarters in Kyoto. Little is known about the lives of Eshinni or Shinran except through these letters, which described important historical events in the life of Shinran Shonin, as well as the conditions in Japan during the Kamakura era. Eshinni was born in Niigata Prefecture in 1182, the daughter of a samurai of high rank in Echigo, and married Shinran around the year 1210, when he was exiled to Echigo. She was described as refined, well-educated, and a landowner, which allowed her and Shinran to survive and raise a family while he pursued his life's mission of spreading the Nembutsu teaching. Despite her many hardships, Eshinni's belief in the Nembutsu was unwavering. Eshinni passed away in 1268 at age 86. As Eshinni is revered for her dedication to Shinran, Kakushinni is known for being her father's caregiver in his final years. She was about 30 years old when Shinran passed away on January 16, 1263, at the age of 90. 10 years after Shinran's death, Kakushinni received some prime property from her husband, where she built a memorial hall for his remains and established the means for ensuring that the hall and property would belong to the Jodo Shinshu Sangha in future generations. Today, this is known as the Otani Mausoleum and the Jodo Shinshu Wonganji-ha, headed by the Manchu. A monument stands in front of the Butsudan at the Otani Mausoleum to pay tribute to Kakushinni's contributions. In 1978, at the World BWA Convention in Brazil, a resolution was approved for all BWA chapters to conduct an annual service in memory of Eshinni. Then, in 2002, at the BWA World Convention in Brazil, a resolution was passed to also honor Kakushinni. The contributions of both Eshinni and Kakushinni have had a long impact on Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. Eshinni gave Shinran Shonin her complete dedication and support as he pursued his life's mission of spreading the Nembutsu teaching, while Kakushinni established the foundation and center from which to transmit his teachings for many generations. Eshinni and Kakushinni represented women of the Kamakura era who were confident and self-aware, and who actively participated in the history of Japan and Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, and therefore, we honor both women during this memorial service today. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please join me in Gasho. In reflecting on the ocean of great Shinjin, I realized that there is no discrimination between noble and humble, or black-robed monks and white-clothed laity. No differentiation between man and woman, old and young. The medicine of the Tathagata's vow destroys the poisons of our wisdom and foolishness. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well during these hard times. Today's quote came from the Kyoryo Shinsho chapter on Shinjin. Here, Shinan Choni, writes that Amida's vow power does not discriminate, that it saves all people, whether young or old, man or woman, and even lay or priest. Us sentient beings are saved by the workings of Amida Buddha. That in order for our enlightenment, we can choose hard practice or easy practice or something in between. Though all these choices, the one that is true is that Amida Buddha's vow power destroys the poisons of our wisdom and foolishness. This means that we might believe one option is better than the other, like how some people believe that old is better, that being young than being young, or vice versa. That view is fueled by our own poisoned thinking we are wise, making foolish decisions. In October, we celebrate the contributions of Eshinni and Kakushinni, the two women who helped to establish Jodo Shinshu. Eshinni helped Shinran to propagate the teachings while he was exiled. Kakushinni helped establish Otani Honbyo and the Honganji. These two women were essential to the history of the Honganji. This made me think, what else is essential? I recently have been reflecting on the realization that I am in my 30s. I have been thinking that I am both old and young. Physically, I can move okay, but I have noticed that certain actions take more energy. For example, I have been doing 2-hour taiko practice sessions with a couple of friends, and by the end of it, I'm already tired. When I was younger, a 2-hour practice session was tiring, but I would be running around right after. This makes me realize that I have to start exercising regularly. So the way that I exercise is by playing taiko. So these are my bachi that was given to me by a friend up here. You could tell it's nicely used with the indents on this side and my sweaty palm prints on this side. I have actually been playing taiko on and off since I was in 5th grade. At first, I didn't like playing. It was hard, and I would get calluses on my hand. The hardest part for me was getting used to performing in front of a large audience. I am a very quiet person, and I never like to be in the center of attention. So performing in front of a group of people was and still is hard for me. But what I like about taiko is that one can be young or old and still be able to hit the drum. Sure, at first my group was full of young people from elementary school to high school, but as the years went by, we realized that playing taiko was good for a whole range of people. For young people, it was a way to have fun. I have played taiko. Sorry. It was a way to make new connections with different people from the community and to distress from school. For older people, it was a way to keep moving. Taiko acts as a way to keep the mind sharp and the joints loose. By practicing taiko, a person gains strength in their arms and legs. Our group grew to include those who wanted to practice for exercise and for those who wanted to play for fun. So I have also recently been looking up some history about taiko. And the one thing I found very interesting is that taiko was initially played by men. Women weren't allowed to play it. This might be because taiko was originally used for war and religious purposes. Apparently, taiko was used as a form of communication for armies to advance and retreat during the Warring States era of Japanese history. This meant men were the only ones able to play it. In Shinto, men were thought to be closer to gods than women. So they were asked to hit the taiko during religious events. Since men used to govern towns, only the higher members of society were allowed to play the taiko, signaling people to come together. Unfortunately, it was only recently and since women were able to play taiko. Some online sources say that women were allowed to play taiko starting from the 1960s or 80s in America. Since then, there have been many groups who have women players, even groups that are made entirely of women. What uh, what I have to realize is that I have to exercise to stay healthy. This is true for all people that we have to exercise, whether old or young, man or woman, and even lay or priest. This is a truth that I have to live with for the rest of my life, and that I will continue to struggle with throughout my life. I do not like to exercise, but to make sure that I am healthy, I have to exercise. I find similar parallels to Buddhism with Taiko. Buddhism as well was a male dominated religion and still is in many parts of the world. Women can join the Buddhist order, but they are given smaller jobs, and some traditions believe one cannot attain enlightenment after this life if one is a woman. This is why Jodo Shinshu is different. Shinran Shonin realized that women are not outside Amida Buddha's vow power. All people, old or young, man or woman, and even lay or priest, are within Amida Buddha's vow power. This is the realization Eshinni and Kakushinni wanted us to realize, that Amida Buddha's vow power embraces everyone. It is given to one who is old or young, man or woman, and even lay or priest. This is the non-discrimination of Amida Buddha. It works on all of us, even when we do not realize it. Just like I have to realize that I have to exercise, we should realize that Amida Buddha's vow is working on us now. It is when we realize Amida Buddha's working and we entrust in them do we feel this overwhelming gratitude. This is Shinjin given to us by Amida Buddha. This is why we say Namo Amida Butsu. We say Nembutsu in gratitude to realizing the workings of Amida Buddha. Though we might not realize it every second of every day, upon having the realization that Amida Buddha is working on us at a single moment during our day, encourages us to say the Nembutsu unbidden. This is why Eshinni and Kakushinni helped start the Honganji. It is so many people can come to this realization of Amida Buddha's vow power and recite the Nembutsu in gratitude. So please recite the Nembutsu at any time of any day in gratitude to the Buddha's compassionate working. Thank you all for listening to my Dharma Talk. I hope that everyone continues to be safe and warm as the months get colder. In closing, please gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Namo Amida Butsu.